All right, so let's go over these answers. So it asks you to write each expression in exponential form. So we want to combine like bases wherever we can and write it as an exponent. So the base is going to be x, and we have 4 of them, so you would write that as x to the 4th. Here we have, those are like bases. The e's are like bases, and then we have a constant. And the constant's always going to go out front. So you have your coefficient, and then you're going to write your variables in alphabetical order. So c is going to come before e. We have 2 c's and 2 e's. So you can write 2 c to the second e to the second. Again, if we look at this one, we have 2 constants, -2 times 3. Then we have 3 like bases. So we would write this as -6x to the 3rd. The last one, you have 1, 2, 3 c's and 1, 2, 3 d's multiplying. So that would be c to the 3rd, d to the 3rd. And c would come before d because you're going to do alphabetical order. If we look at the next group, it says evaluate x to the 4th when x equals -2. So we have x to the 4th now becomes -2 to the 4th. Notice I didn't write it as -2 to the 4th because that would mean 2 to the 4th, and then the negative would not be included. But since the negative is included as the x, we would write it as the quantity of -2 to the 4th. And that means we have -2 times -2 times -2 times -2, which gives me 4 times 4, which is 16. So number 13 is going to be 16. And then number 15, we again have a variable. So we have number 15 is y to the 5th when y equals -1. So again, we use parentheses to include that negative. That's -1 times -1 times -1 times -1 times -1. It's the base exponent times itself. So -1 times -1 is 1 times, so that produces +1. That's going to produce a +1, and then times -1. So 1 times 1 is 1 times -1 is -1. So number 15 is going to be -1. Number 20, let's do 3 to the 4th. 3 to the 4th is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. The base of the exponent is 3, and the power is 4. So we would do 3 times itself 4 times. That gives me 9 times 9, which is 81. Number 21, this is different. Notice no parentheses, no Chewbacca arms. So this really is the opposite of 3 to the 2nd. So that means the opposite of 3 times 3. We're always going to do that, 3 to the 2nd, and so that gives me -9. That's a tricky one. A lot of students will get that incorrect. And now we have -2 to the 3rd. -2 to the 3rd means the opposite of 2 times 2 times 2, because we have to do the exponent first. That gives me -8. If I have 5 minus 2 to the 2nd, I'm going to write 5 minus 2 times 2, 5 minus 4, which is 1. Here we have 2 times x plus y to the 2nd. The x value is 2, so we'll substitute that in. Y is -1, so this time, because the y value includes the negative, we need parentheses in this case. So we're going to do 2 times 2 plus negative 1 squared is negative 1 times negative 1. We get 2 times 2 is 4. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. So my answer is going to be 5. Here we have 2 plus x times y to the second. That's 2 plus 2 times, again, negative 1 squared. We're going to do exponents first. So negative 1 squared is negative 1 times negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. We're going to do multiplication before addition. And then we get 4. So 2 times 1 is 2 plus 2 gives you 4. We have 2 times 2 plus y to the third. Y is negative 1 to the third. So we have 2 times 2 plus the base is negative 1. And we have it multiplied itself 3 times. So you have 2 times 2 plus negative 1 times negative 1 is going to give me positive 1. 2 times 2 is 4. And negative 1 times 1 is 1. So we do multiplication before addition and subtraction. 1 times negative 1 gives me negative 1, and that would be 4 minus 1 is 3. And we have x, which is 2 plus 2 times negative 1 to the third. We have to do grouping symbols first. Inside the grouping symbols, we have addition and multiplication. We're going to do the multiplication first. So we have 2 times negative 1, which is negative 2. 2 minus 2 is 0 to the third. That's a horrible 3 right there. And 0 to the 3 is 0 times 0 times 0, which gives us 0. 33, we have 2 minus x times y to the second, which is negative 1 squared. We're going to do exponents first. Negative 1 squared. Negative 1 times negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. We're going to do multiplication before the subtraction. So negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And we get 0 again. All right. Hopefully that helps. Come and see me if you have questions.